more person, 1v5, stand against the rest.
A guy to this ball, guiding it down, maybe even get one for the road.
Our own standards here in this overtime period, because if we concede a goal, it's over for them.
He's doing a lot of damage, but he's got to TP over. He avoids the ego.
Bob Waena, no flash, no problem. Safe, Clair.
Horse back already so low. Reddick's taking down two, taking down one.
Immediately, this should be all she wrote. Soaks with one on the icy.
Stand until the whole squad.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for some more St. Clair esports action. Joined on the desk, I am Patrick Smoke Chambers with Evan, not really Evan Johnson. Evan, we got some COD coming up here for NACE as well. St. Clair going up against Akron Blue. You know, we were talking a little bit earlier to Bendy about, you know, just sort of what the lineup was looking like. A little bit of some interesting stuff going on there in the mix, but just at face value, right? What does this matchup look like to you?
I think this matchup, it's going to be a good test for next week's matchup against Cumberland. I think, you know, St. Clair, they've been hot all of the NACE season, still undefeated, and they got Akron on tap for tonight, who they've struggled this season. You know, usually a powerhouse and a mainstay of NACE Call of Duty, but an overhauled roster has sort of led to some recent struggles, but it doesn't matter. St. Clair, they have their opponent in front of them, and they know the job at hand, and it has to be another win tonight to keep this hot streak going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've been absolutely insane. Just to brush up on a couple of numbers up until this point, on Hardpoint currently, 1,250 their score in favor for St. Clair points-wise to 414. Man,
pretty good.
That's pretty good considering all the Hardpoint they've played. So, again, last time we saw them up against Conestoga, I thought it was going to be a little more of a closer series. We did see them take a little more bite back on SND, but even then, that just kind of speaks volumes when we're calling that out as is, when we're talking about a 6-3 win still.
Yeah, I mean, a win is a win regardless. And I mean, if the worst game, quote-unquote, of S&D you've had is giving up 3 rounds to another really good team, I think that's something to be proud of. I mean, give up 3 to Conestoga and then 8 total rounds of S&D they've dropped in the entire season. Like, that's just unheard of. I mean, it's just an absolute dominant streak from everybody on the team, including the one we have on tonight's interview. It's going to be Rupert tonight joining us. Rupert, how we doing, man? It's going to be a big game tonight. Not sure if he heard
I was just saying, I don't know if he can hear us, but we'll see if we can get back to him on that. I think that, you know, I was just speaking about some numbers here as I was going through Hardpoint. Just for your sorry, Rupert, there we go. We're back, and can you hear us? We're all good?
Yeah.
There we go. What's going on, brother? Okay.
Perfect.
So immediately, I just wanted to just kind of let you know about some numbers that we were going over here.
Okay.
1,250 to 414 is your Hardpoint score overall in NACE right now. You're tripling everybody. 30 to 8 being your S&D, and you guys are actually undefeated in control at 15 to zip. Do you guys think that because you're so dominant in control, do you think that's kind of a factor to deal with? The teams are currently 0-2 looking at it against you guys, and they're like, well, man, we're just kind of giving up? Or is it sort of one of those things where you guys are just so locked in after the first 2 games and control just kind of comes naturally, even though we know you guys dislike the game mode sometimes?
I feel like whenever we're up 2-0, I don't think it's them giving up, but it's like I feel like our third game mode, like control, we're really dominant, so it don't matter if they give up or not, like we're gonna win, and we just know it, so we just play for fun.
Fair play, man.
And Rupert, I mean, you talk about dominance. You got another dominant team coming up next week. Cumberland is coming up. Akron, they've struggled this year. Do you guys see this as a stepping stone and like some warm up for next week's big game?
Yeah, I feel like after every week, even if we win, we try to take something to learn and be better for next week match. So yeah, we're gonna be ready.
You know, I have to ask here. I've heard there's been a couple of roster swaps, at least for today. You know, your roster is so deep, and the talent pool is great there. Just how is it being on a team where no matter who's playing on the day, you can just trust in them to be their absolute best?
I mean, it feels amazing, of course. Like, I feel like I trust every single one of them. So I know, like, I don't care who's on my team. I know where I'm gonna win, and we all play with confidence. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome, Rupert. Well, thank you for joining us quickly. We wish you the best of luck tonight. Hopefully it goes well.
Thank you.
Always good to talk with Rupert, but now looking at some beautiful replay shots of the boys warming up for their matchup later tonight in just a few moments' time. I wanted to talk potentially about those lineup changes that I know we had seen earlier tonight, because we got to break them down at the end of the day. The core four is usually C-Wads, Rupert, KB, and Cody, but for tonight, I believe it is going to be Rupert, KB, Brandon, the head coach, filling in, and Bendy as well. So playing with their sixth man, if you are familiar with basketball terms, their guy off the bench, usually Bendy. But again, Bendy's also had playtime in NACE, and he honestly looks like whenever he slots into the lineup, there's no beats missed.
No, absolutely not. I mean, you talk about the depth that this team has. I think you mentioned it in the interview. The talent level is just off the charts. I mean, we're talking about players that are competing at a Tier 2 level that most likely will have a chance to go pro once these collegiate seasons are done. I mean, everybody is just an absolute dog on this team, and Akron's going to have a really, really tough time in handling these guys. I mean, like, the record speaks for themselves. Like, they're 5-0 so far. We talked about the scoreline, like, I mean, tripling opponent scores in hardpoint and just absolutely dominating on control. S&D, I guess you can say maybe that's a weakness, but not even. I mean, like, that was 6-3 being honestly your closest loss. I mean, that is nothing to sneeze at. That is still a fantastic scoreline. I mean, these guys are just so dialed in. They're so locked in. I can't see how it's going to be any different tonight. Doesn't matter who's playing for them. I mean, we're watching some of the replays of them warming up right now, and I think Rupert had even an insane double just in the warm-ups, right? So if you can see that already, like, you know that they are absolutely dialed in and ready to go tonight.
Yeah, honestly, the whole thing about them not being as good on SND as every other game mode, like, I honestly think that narrative is kind of old and outdated at this point. I think, and I'll put myself in the firing line here. This is something that I've totally said about these guys previously, right? But since I've just been casting them match after match so far in NACE, I really just don't think that's the case. They're a team that is just so strong no matter what game mode they're in, and I think it really just comes through because of not only just their insane mechanics, but also their level of understanding as well, right? To know when to really ramp up pace versus when to slow things down. We will see games in hardpoint where Rupert will just go absolutely insane, and I've had casters with me and other people point out, oh man, KB looked a little bit slow on hardpoint or whatnot. And then I tell them, I'm like, hey, listen, that might be the case, but he doesn't always need to be the top fragging hero on the team in order for them to get the win. And even then, that's all they care about at the end of the day. But I always tell them, hey, wait for S&D, because that's when you see a player with an AR like KB come out and just absolutely shine, when you have to play a little more calm and slow and calculated. So, again, I think that this team just simply has all of the right tools to get the job done, no matter the game mode. And that's just it. You mix talent with versatility and level of understanding. There you go. And shoutouts to Bendy, as he seems like he's tuning into the stream as well.
Yeah, we love that. We're going to get some crazy inception.
Our players care.
Once he gets to this POV, he's going to have some crazy inception going on. But yeah, hey, we love to see the players supporting the streams as well. And you can just tell, like, they're dialed in, but they're here to have fun, and I think that's why they're so successful. These guys trust each other. The camaraderie is just off the charts. The chemistry is there. They trust each other, and that's why it doesn't matter if Bendy is subbing in for somebody or if Brandon has to step in and play. It does not matter. They are going to get the same results no matter what, and that just, again, speaks to the talent level across the board, like, full stop. This team is just incredibly dominant, and there's no reason to think that they won't achieve any goal they set for themselves.
Absolutely. That being said, let's break down the maps that we're going to be looking at tonight. And usually there'd be a lot more to go about through the actual maps themselves, as we got Rewind going to happen twice for the first two games, right? First one on Hardpoint, second one on S&D. We got Vault for Control, and then if it goes to a fourth, I believe it's Hacienda, and then for a fifth, Evan, I know we were looking at it earlier, is going to be Protocol as well for map 5, right? So, again, that's if it gets there. Obviously, we've talked about it earlier. St. Clair, this is more of just kind of a heat check test to make sure that they're in form, at least for the big matchup against Cumberland. I'm not necessarily saying, like, this as a statement of, oh, Akron are, just not going to perform up to the standard and they're not going to give them the challenge. I'm not saying that they won't do that, but it will be pleasantly surprising if they can. And I think that, honestly, looking at the roster, we have Override, Biohazard, Seath, and then usually they kind of flex their fourth as either Real Boomer, Dingo, or Blossom. I think at the end of the day, for Akron, this is more of a matchup where you are going to treat this as a learning experience, right? You need to look at it that way, because you only get better in video games and in gaming through playing against people that are better than you. I feel like that's always the best way to improve, in my opinion. So at least from my experiences, that's usually how it goes. And I will say that I think it's very much the same thing here, right? It's kind of looking at the ranks and everything, and I get it. Rank doesn't always apply to comp play and whatnot. But it kind of seems like, just given the record and everything, it's going to be sort of one of those matchups where you're looking at it and you're thinking there's levels to this.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Akron, normally a mainstay of collegiate Call of Duty. They were one of our guests last year for SGS Call of Duty. They've had their moments in the sun, but you mentioned it, a completely overhauled roster from last year, and they're still trying to pick up the pieces of last year's team, right? And you know, there is some levels to this, and there are discrepancies in skill when you talk about rank. We're talking about diamond players and platinum players being on these, for these Akron subs. And when you're looking at St. Clair, you have at least 3 top 250s on there in iridescence. I mean, like, that's a huge gap and a huge jump in skill. And you hate to say it, like, you really want Akron to come out and, maybe surprise some people and shock the world tonight. But just looking on paper specifically, I just can't see that happening, especially when the team has been so locked in. They've, they know what's in front of them. They know what they need to do. Good teams always find a way to take care of their business and take care of lesser teams, and they should be able to do that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, we don't want to talk about it too much, but Evan, hey, you know what? We'll celebrate. If Akron win tonight, I will literally buy you dinner. That's where it's at, right?
All right, my choice.
Not? Sure.
All
sure.
right, sick.
Because I genuinely, that's the confidence that I believe I have in St. Clair tonight, and that's with them not even having their main roster in, right? Again, Brandon was part of that team last year, is still a very great player, and as the head coach, honestly, it might even be the Valorant Seth head coach buff, right? Where sometimes you have your head coach come through, and it's almost like, hey, this guy, he knows you guys better than you guys know yourself sometimes, and it's almost sometimes a good thing to have coming through, as he was always one of those great players back when, or in some of our older rosters. But again, Bendy's looked phenomenal so far in his showings earlier this year. And I want to break down maps more, but it almost gets boring talking about maps in COD when it comes to these guys, because, Evan, they've never dropped one.
No.
They're undefeated on everything.
They just don't know what it's like to lose.
They
quite
don't.
Frankly,
No, like,
they really
actually don't. It's weird.
It is, but it's fun to watch, at least for us.
It is.
It is fun to watch, the team that you support, dominate like that. And, we're going to get double dose of Rewind tonight. Newer map addition in the pool as of a couple months ago, so I guess not that new. But a map that they've picked up and they've really started to take a liking to. We saw it, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, a week ago, it was against West Virginia that they had that Search and Destroy game on Rewind. That was just a complete domination, barring that one round where West Virginia was able to steal it away from them. But they know the rotations well. It sets up perfectly for the two styles of play they like to, this really run and gun SMG style, or just lasering people at long range with rifles. Everything about it suits their play style, and everybody on the team is able to switch in those roles and play what's good for the team. And that, again, it shows you how well built this roster is. Everybody is able to pick up a role that needs to be done for the task at hand, and they just make it work.
Yeah, again, I especially think that when we look at any flaws that this team could have, I think it's that sometimes they are so confident with their own skill that, sometimes you slip up here and there, you make a little bit of a cocky play, but where you make up in that tonight is by having your coach in the server to literally give you that slap on the wrist while you're in mid-game. And to remind you sometimes, like, sometimes you want to take these situations a little more disciplined, right? Sometimes I feel like this COD team, they can get into a habit of chasing kills once in a while, but even then, I don't think anyone's really complaining because it's like, at least at the collegiate level, it hasn't really affected them in any negative way so far, at least long-lasting wise. They haven't dropped a map. So, hey, listen, in the moment, some things can look a little bit ropey, but in the grand scheme of things, they always know when to relock back in and when to really take control of a series when they kind of want to. I think that's why, honestly, I know it's not the series we're doing tonight, but I'm really interested to see if they can just hold up form here. And coming into next week against Cumberland, that is going to be a series where I do not expect for the first time to see a Saints 3-0 on my graphic on that lower third after.
Yeah, next week is going to be a really exciting match. I mean, I expect the team to be ready as well. Like you said, this is a really good test to make sure that everything is set for next week. I fully expect the core 4 to be making an appearance on stream next week. I mean, why would you not run your best roster against the best team? But again, so you got to warm up. Maybe you should use some of those pre-fire hand warmers to get those hands nice and ready. But I think we are going to be getting into the lobby soon. I mean, do we even bother talking about predictions right now? I mean, we've sort of already teed this up. We kind of have a feeling about how this is going to go down. I mean, I guess I should be rooting for Akron if I want to eat tonight. But
here, you know what? I'll even do this. I'll go this mile. Over under 70.5 points in hard point for Akron.
Ooh, that's tough. I mean, my gut says the under. Just because of how
you're
dominant.
You're going to take the under? Like, that's really dominant, even if it's like 71 to 250.
I'm taking the under on hardpoint. I mean,
ooh, man.
When you look at Akron's roster and their record so far, I mean, you break down some of those other games that they've had on hardpoint earlier this season. It just hasn't been good. I mean, like we'll pull up the numbers. We'll pull up the numbers here, but I mean, hardpoint for our team has just been one of their, many bright spots, but hardpoint especially has been one of their best. Their premier mode, one might say. And again, when you're facing a team that's had their struggles this year, it definitely is an advantageous position. Okay, like look at this one. TAMIU, 250 for them, 16 for Akron in hardpoint.
Yeah, let's
pull up another one
that's
here.
pretty abysmal. I might have wanted to lower that 70.
I think you should have lowered that. Cumberland. Let's look at the Cumberland
70.5, but we'll
take a guess. Take a guess.
I mean, I don't have to take a guess because I saw it.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's my mistake. But for everyone at home,
you should have lowered
250 to 50. So again, hard point. It seems like for Akron,
okay,
it just isn't.
Conestoga.
Oh, Conestoga?
Yeah, guess.
Brother, 250 to 27.
Oh, you were close. 29.
29. Okay, I'll take it. Hey, listen, when we're talking about just pure seconds of control, that is definitely a really hard one to get through. But you know what? I was going to say, as they put up 89 versus LBCC, so if Akron were to actually reach the over on that 70.5, right? That means that would be, I guess, not unless we're talking about their West Virginia showing in Game 1.
That's twice they blanked them at hardpoint against West Virginia.
That is
a bit of an outlier. I mean,
it is a bit of an outlier.
And watch that film.
I was going to say, I might need to pull that
game.
VOD back again. But no, I think that honestly, if we're looking at recency or whatnot and relevancy as well, man, they really hit that over on what I proposed out there, and all of a sudden it's like, yep, that's their second, not even winning, right? That is their second best hardpoint performance, barring that faded West Virginia VOD that we definitely need to find now.
Yeah, we're gonna have
somewhere in the trenches.
We're gonna have to find that and see what was up with that. I mean, not like just doing it once, I think, is impressive, but doing it twice in the same series.
Yeah.
Not sure. They must just have had West Virginia's number that night. Clearly, if that's
they were just moving different.
Clearly was their win, and that was their most recent match as well.
I wonder if that was Well, that was their most recent.
That was their most recent match. Was West Virginia, yes, sir.
I was going to make a joke, and I was going to say maybe it was before the roster overhaul. Maybe the guys came back and were like, yeah, we're just going to lock in for one series. But no, fair credit. I'll give all credit to Akron, able to take that one off. And yeah, again, West Virginia, not the best COD team as of right now, 0-6 as of NACE standings through the Super Conference, but. Again, St. Clair looking real good right now on 5-0. And again, Cumberland next week, same story. Undefeated. It is really going to be a clash of the Titans. That being said, I believe we are finally going into game. And Evan, I mean, man, if you were to tell me anything other than 3-0 for St. Clair, I don't really know what I'd say to you.
Be shocked, I think, if it was anything but a 3-0 tonight. But like
which is
said,
good. I mean, that means if it does happen, if Akron does take a game off St. Clair,
that's good for them.
That's amazing for them.
Big step.
And we are going to have a field day laughing at St. Clair on social media after.
I don't know if I go that far. But I genuinely would be surprised. I mean,
I know Adrian in the side room was like, I will.
Okay, well, Adrian can dog them on social media. I will not. But we are here. It's starting. We're on Rewind. It's Hardpoint. Again, we're looking for that under 70 for that to hit. We'll see if Akron is able to hold serve with St. Clair. But
yeah, we're putting bets
right
up now.
off the rip, St. Clair already been dominating. And Cooper adding some more picks to the scoreline for St. Clair, just completely cutting off that way for Akron to get into the video store, and it just continues to climb from there. Nobody on the point as of right now. Bit of a fight as Akron does get their first touch of this first round.
I think the number one thing you're really going to want to look at here when we see Ruper's stats and same with KB's is going to be the amount of untraded kills that you see them get opposed to Akron's numbers as well. As now Akron climbing, and they're trying to prove you wrong,
Stop
Evan.
the count right now. Stop the count.
We believe in Akron. Get those 70 points. But right now, St. Clair, new hardpoint switches over, and this is something that they're so good at doing as well, is just managing their rotations. And it's such an easy thing to mess up, but for St. Clair, it's as smooth as butter.
I will give Akron some early credit. They've done a really good job at holding the hardpoint when they're able to get it, keeping St. Clair on their toes. This hasn't been a complete stomp as of right now. St. Clair is going to take the lead. Bendy losing that gunfight just on the last bullet, but Akron has been able to put some fight against St. Clair. You know, the score is close right now. I know the game is still very early, but St. Clair has been, you know, losing some of these early gunfights. Maybe it will be a factor, you know, just build some of these points up, but St. Clair trying to stay the course right now, trying to keep this hardpoint score going up. Just about 10 seconds left before another switch. Akron still trying their best to get onto it, but KB just mowing these Akron attackers down.
Hey, listen, you know what? I'm going to become an Akron fan midstream. I want to see them do good and give St. Clair something to be afraid of, but it seems like St. Clair, you know, they kind of just have that switch that they can kind of flick on whenever they want, but not right now, as Akron doing a good job of just taking a little bit of control through there. But KB on a streak of 5, as St. Clair getting the trophy systems down or trying to hunker in and claim the points that they desire.
This is a great point to defend as well. That's a great spot for the trophy as well. This is the smallest hard point of the bunch right here. This is a good spot for Rupert to be in this trash area. Have the car for some defense as well, and Akron is going to take advantage of that. They are going to recapture the point. St. Clair with a sizable lead. Still, work to be done. KB losing the gunfight in the store. Bendy adding another one to try and keep things going. Rupert, another gunfight, one for him as Bendy is going to get down and dirty on the hard point. Is going to slide in with the pistol. Does not care. Finds his pick. St. Clair, the last couple points of that hard point for the switch.
You know, I think they're definitely going to get that 70. They've already had better games versus worse games versus other colleges. So Akron, you know, by their record standings, they're definitely doing really good right now for what we were expecting. Again, they're keeping this one closer than I thought, and St. Clair, they aren't getting out to an insane lead as of yet, or at least not as big as I would have thought. But now, KB trying to keep St. Clair up and ahead, is kind of stuck in a hard spot here as he has to try to get one from behind the car, jumps back over and immediately hits the shot as well. Can't quite get the drop on the third, but he is very special in showing why he's one of the best COD players in this collegiate scene.
KB and Rupert have had an amazing start to this series so far. We saw that triple that Rupert had just going God mode for a couple seconds. He almost got the 4K if he just didn't run out of bullets near the end there, but like you said, that's the power that St. Clair has, the potential to absolutely ball out. Brandon losing that gunfight there, still contested as the hard point, but Rupert coming in, does find that pick, and Bendy adding another one as well to keep that score going for St. Clair. And now with Akron spawning on the other side of the map, really good opportunity to build up this score and send out your infiltrators to make sure that the spawns for Akron do not get anywhere close and disrupt them as much as possible to keep that score going up.
Well, they're doing it for your under prediction, Evan.
I appreciate that.
You know, again, I think maybe Cody Cod was watching the stream and maybe relayed it to the boys saying, hey guys, Evan's got you on an under of 70.5. So now they're really locking in, but St. Clair just barely getting close to reaching 100 more points as they get to that threshold right there and pass it. Is now Brandon, side of the video store, just bouncing around, making sure that he's locking down his area and having St. Clair all smooth on this rotation when point switches back over. It's about how they're going to be able to clear out KB, though. That's going to be the issue, and well, you try to force it and it doesn't go your way. The slide comes on through, and KB hunting this last Akron player down. Believe will find it onto Bio, as now Bendy working his way through. Quick double as well. Rinses 2 before he gets traded back out.
You look at the scoreline right now. Bendy's had a solid game, but Rupert has been the real problem for Akron. They have just had no answer for him besides finding him there, but 22-8 early, still a lot of game left to play. He has just been on one, locking in just to that extra degree tonight. Him and KB have had a really stellar start for the series as we get a look at the players continuing to stay locked and offer comms. You know, you talked about having Brandon, the coach, in the lobby as well, how that buff might help just, you know, lock in defensively when you need to. If you're starting to struggle a little bit, it's another big help, and the Saints, they're getting that help right now and finding some really flashy picks right now. They're starting to have fun, you can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Is now just less than 50 points to go. Akron, they just need 12 more in order to get Evan's prediction wrong, and, well, cost him at least just for bragging rights for now. Is Bendy 19-10 so far, having a very good game himself, but KB and Rupert definitely the ones that are drawing the most attention, as Rupert on a streak of 3. Look at the time as well that they all have compared to Akron. I will say Override, a good 42 seconds left to go, but no other players have cleared that 30-second mark at all, as it just shows how dominant St. Clair have been. 15 more to go, and Akron are not going to be able to get this hard point under their control. 10 more seconds before it switches over, and St. Clair, they're just going to need to hold out here and get on one more switch for a little while before this one goes their way.
They almost had it there, losing
Come on, Akron
that last gunfight, but Brandon is going to come in and save the day, swapping to the pistol, does find the second one. Can he get the third? He can't, as more reinforcements for Akron crash into the point, but a missile strike. Rupert calling in the missile strike to clear off the objective. I mean, that's going to do it. I mean, that's the easiest way to get it done.
Evan.
I mean, you save the score streaks for the end, and we did hit the under. I was correct in my prediction, but they made it close. Give it to them.
You owe that cruise missile so much.
Thank
really
you,
well,
cruise missile.
Really well done there. The score streak saving Evan's score prediction, as St. Clair are going to be taking this one 250-65. And again, Search and Destroy, that's definitely the game mode that I think I'd be most interested in this series, but these guys just seem pretty calm, pretty composed, and pretty confident. As you see KB, he's not batting an eye at it. Sit back, take a sip of that Tim Hortons, and just work your magic. That's all it is.
Shout out to the sponsor, Tim Hortons, as well. Nice product placement from KB. You know, that's some good media training right there for them. We're going to get a look at some of the replays of this last match. I mean, you just see it, like, the ability that St. Clair has to just dial in and just, once they get that spray going, it is just, like, laser focused right now. And the movement as well. you know, a lot of people talk about the Omni movement in BO6 and how much, you know, it really does make an impact in these gunfights. And these players, you know, once you get to this high level, you're seeing the types of things you can do with this free-flowing movement system, and they're really showing the potential that it has to make these flashy plays. And these guys, you know, play at the highest level. They find ways to make things happen. And with some of these doubles, I mean,
there you go.
You can't really talk about, you know, the Hellstorm missile like that, but, you know, they'll take it either way. They'll get it any way they can. It still counts as a quad on the kill feed, but, yeah, just a classic game of St. Clair Hardpoint where they just dominate. Slow start, but they locked in immediately after.
Was that Rupert's cruise missile as well, by the way?
I believe so, and I think he died to his own cruise missile, but...
You know what? I remember what I saw. No, I don't think he died to his own cruise missile. I think he TK'd KB, who was actually on the hardpoint at the time. So you know what? KB, I mean, just get out of the way, man.
Yeah, just avoid the missile, bro. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah. +1 to the death list, and, you know, KB's just got to be better in those situations, man.
If there's one thing St. Clair can improve tonight, avoid the score streaks at all cost.
Yeah, I think that's going to be definitely a talking point that Brandon is going to be working on with
VOD review after the stream
VOD review.
Tonight.
Don't worry about the score line. 250 to 65. Doesn't matter. Rupert, what are you doing cruise missiling KB on point there when he clearly has it under control with 4 other Akron players? No, I'm just kidding. Is now search and destroy underway, and Brandon's going to be able to claim first blood. Something about S&D maps that I've seen is usually in the first round. The actual round itself will end, right, Evan? But then the timer will just keep going. And I believe it's just an in-game bug. So I wonder if it's going to happen again this time. But if it does, yeah, it's an in-game bug. But after that, the round will end. And then from there on out, there shouldn't be any more time bugs again. So I wonder if it's going to happen. But that is still left to be seen. Is in a 3v2 situation right now, St. Clair getting the bomb down. And they've chosen B as their destination.
A bug in Codcaster? Color me shocked.
I was gonna say, if I'm looking at the lives remaining right now, it does say 2, but yeah, I believe they're just planting because time already ran out. Because look at the skulls.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone's
should
already
be
dead.
it. I mean,
yeah.
Akron, that was a really good chance for them to make some noise. I mean, you had the 2v2 fight there, but once again, the talent from our side just outlasts, and they're able to secure the victory regardless of if you go down 2-2. But I mean, I think losing a round in S&D, it's not really a big deal. I mean, you just have to get to 6. Like, we've seen them. They've dropped a couple, 8 so far this whole season. We'll see if they add to that total tonight, but it's okay. You know, even if you drop first round, you know, you give Akron just a little bit of a mulligan there. Should be fine, just move on, but a good start to search and destroy, and they should be able to keep that going. I mean, familiar map as well, so you don't really need to change up your tactics all that much. It's still fresh, it's still familiar, and with what we saw at Hardpoint, they shouldn't have any problem right now.
Right, well now, switching over to the defensive side of things, St. Clair, usually very good at taking space early with controlled aggression, as we're going to see Rupert. He's looking to get into it immediately, throwing out the util, stuns, and a Semtex goes through, and because of that, able to create the rush on the first pick, as well as Override just fully extends a little too far. But look at everyone on Akron, though, taking down Bendy, KB, and Brandon elsewhere on the map. So now Rupert left in a 1v3, and let's see what he can deliver.
Rupert is able to live up to these big moments right now. He has the ability to be the hero, and Akron taking a lot of time to figure out they didn't want to go A. They rotate back to B, and now you give Rupert just enough time to fool you and get this rotation to come through. They do spot him, but he's able to outgun Override. Just 2 more members of Akron and a bomb defusal to go to get this one for St. Clair. The movement coming through for Rupert, trying to be... Oh my goodness, you thought that was going to be a certain death for Rupert, but he is able to outgun anything right now. Using that slide, he has to go quick. As Seath on this long angle, Rupert's going to have to use that movement, and he does do it, outgunning him through the car. I told you that Rupert was big and built for these big moments, and he delivered there. And a nice crack in the neck there, easy for him. Another round going to St. Clair.
Well, you know, Rupert Skywalker, He's got the force in this one. He can control it to any outcome he wishes and pleases. And again, in that 1v3, such a good job there of making Akron, not making Akron make mistakes, but for exploiting Akron's mistakes. You do not have to hunt for him there. You're giving him 3 isolated 1v1s in a 3v1 scenario. That's never what you want to do, especially in Call of Duty, when you can just take some time and heal back some of that health to re-engage in your next gunfight. So, again, Rupert showing Akron how it's done and also showing them that you definitely can't play around with him. Got to make sure that you keep your numbers game up, and it's going to be a little bit of a slap on the wrist of Akron just making some silly mistakes.
Yeah, and those are the kind of round losses that are just absolutely soul-crushing. I mean, you had St. Clair dead to rights. You had an opportunity to tie it up and get back in the series, finally get some positive momentum on your side, and Rupert coming in and just playing the hero. We said that St. Clair, they got some dogs on this team. They got shooters on this team, and we are seeing it in full force tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Still full numbers up for St. Clair. Akron down a man. Bomb is down onto A. Akron now trying to get right back into the video store. That util from Boom doesn't find anybody, but finds the pick onto Rupert regardless. It's all going to be up to Bendy and KB to salvage the round here. Bio in a good spot.
He's going to try to go for the defuse right now.
St. Clair's going to have to go quick. They don't know that he's on there. KB on the outside looking in. Has to move in quick, but KB with a perfect angle gets the diffuser and override for good measure. Rest of St. Clair cleaning up the last of Akron. KB playing hero this time. 3-0 St. Clair.
What was that timer on? I mean, I want to say there was maybe under a third of a second left on that diffuse clock. I mean, that was insane, but KB plays it perfectly at the right moment, finds the double, and St. Clair, they're able to take another.
Just too much of Bio's head exposed in the prone, and KB was able to laser in on it. Just incredible stuff from St. Clair, staying dominant. Let's see how they can respond on defense now.
Yeah, as trophy system's thrown out early, we know that Rupert has forced engagements in this position before, sees that the stun comes through, and this should be an easy 2 picks for St. Clair here as the double stack is going to pay off. Brandon with one, I believe Bendy backing him up, so now KB rotating through, has a good angle, and I believe has sights on man with the bomb, but before he can even get there, already gets cut down by another St. Clair Saint, as now they move up 4-0 in dominant fashion, and I mean, looking forward to control on Vault, I would definitely say so. I know it's not over yet, but again, if St. Clair can just get this one done in 6-0 fashion, control, they're even harder to derail on that than S&D.
Yeah, and it's not just having to derail them. I mean, you look at the stat lines for everybody. Bendy, we got a quick flash for scoreboard. 6-1 for him so far, and Akron's going to have to find some answers quickly if they want any hope of even just getting a single round in Search and Destroy right now with the level that they're playing on. Brandon with the double right there. Just adding on to that total. KB trading shots. Can't finish the pick. Does have to retreat. Brandon, his brother in arms, is going to get the bomb down onto B. See Bio, the only one left now. Once again, bit far away now. St. Clair is going to have the luxury of using these long angles to set up this post-plant defense. That glass breaking does give it away. Do have his position now. Brandon setting up behind the car. Does get KB eliminated, though. It's all going to be up to Brandon. That flash going through. Can't connect, though, as Brandon, it's his turn to make the big play. One more round, and then St. Clair moves on to control.
Man, I mean, it's just so fluid as you can see Brandon's clan tag of I suck. No, you don't, Brandon. You're doing good now. He's so humble, bro. As he's able to get the 5-0 score as of right now. St. Clair, they're looking so good. Going through the offensive rotations and schemes like clockwork. As now Akron, definitely something left to be desired in SND. St. Clair on match point and would put themselves on series point as they would only need one more on control to take the series in 3-0 fashion. Rupert able to find first blood, but then immediately refragged back out. It's going to be then Boom who gets downed out by Bendy, and now it's going to be a wow, that's really bad timing. Is St. Clair, you know, if we were to look at what was going to happen, I would have to imagine that there was some really good setups that were going through, as now you can see, I believe that's one of our St. Clair players.
This is the most scuffed way to finish off this round. But I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, we're going to see what happens. Hopefully, St. Clair is able to get it done here. I believe we're spectating Bendy's POV. I can't tell who he's on right now, as we're just full-faced on the map right now.
He's watching Rupert. He's watching Rupert right now.
How can you even tell? Oh, wait. No, I think he's watching Brandon right now. Well, they won anyway, so I guess it doesn't.
There you go.
It doesn't really matter.
Win.
Clair
Let's
ended up
go.
winning. Business as usual. They ended up getting it done. I mean, I hope you enjoyed that insane map gameplay.
That's best shot of the night.
And shout out to Lelo for getting that and making sure we still had something to talk about.
Absolutely. I mean, can you imagine, right? Opening up the mini map. You know, if you're the last man there, good comms from the team all around, right? I mean, that's passion. So many times,
yes.
So many times, you know, you get into S&D games, and right after your teammates die, they just blast TikToks in the mic, and then, well,
I can think of some Varsity players that might do that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, for fun, probably Brandon. No, I'm just kidding. No, he was probably, if anything, the one who had the map open, if anything, and was definitely supporting his guys throughout. I mean, that 1v3 from Rupert was
disgusting,
absolutely gross. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna give him it. If you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile. So, again, you give him 3 isolated 1v1s, and that's going to be a problem. KB there with a clutch play as well. So close. I want to say Akron had less than half a second to get that defuse out and complete, but KB, right place at the right time, shuts it down. This double stack was really good too, and Rupert, again, another small highlight play there. Just the spray transfers. Cold as ice.
Cold as ice. I think that's a good way to say it. I mean, it seems like every round somebody was able to make that clutch up. Akron, I will give them credit. They made St. Clair sweat a little bit in S&D. Like, these weren't dominated rounds completely. Like you said, maybe Brandon is the one who's going online. He's clearly showing everybody
scrolling right
a funny
now.
TikTok right now. but yeah, no, it's. You give Akron something, like some positives to take away from it. They were able to make it close. There were lots of opportunities for them to close it out, but just not able to. I mean, when Rupert is just, you know, like I said, tapping into the force, winning in the 1v3 situation, I mean, what are you supposed to do about that?
I don't know. I mean, ask that question to Lelo. I'll tell you what he's going to do about it. I thought he was working on over. I thought he was going to get us a shot of the Doom Scroll in question. But unfortunately, we're getting actually word from Prod that he was. So good instincts there from Lelo, but Brandon was, you know, realizing it's prep time. It's not phone phase. But right now, how much prep do you need, St. Clair? You already have the proof. Now we just got to see the pudding, because on control, undefeated, as I stated earlier, 15-0. And I believe I've casted 3 of their matches where those 3-0s in question. So making up 9 of those 15 points have been won on Vault. And that is going to be where they go to yet again. So these guys, no strangers to this map, and usually can get it done in any way. Through lives traded out, through, again, control and objective. They're so good at locking down rotations. They're so aware of spawn location too. And the number one thing, I think, that sets them apart from every other team in control is just their ability to refrag each other. Again, untraded kills, such a huge thing that you see in Hardpoint, and usually it's a little bit of a foreshadowing for how control works out for them.
It does end up working out for them, and I think I always thought it was funny. It's like they talk about how much they hate control, but man, are they good at it. Like, they just completely, like, I mean, they still have yet to drop a round in control yet this year. I doubt we're going to see that tonight, but I mean, who knows? Anything is possible. Miracles can happen. We will see if Akron has anything left in the tank to maybe throw at St. Clair that they haven't seen yet. But I think you said it correctly, is that, you know, they do dominate, you know, in control. you know, they know the map so well, Vault especially. They know the spawns. They know the sight lines to get the job done. And, yeah, they get the refrag, and it all comes to the chemistry, right? The comms are so good. They're able to just move around as quick as they can and get it done. And they're going to have to wait just a little bit longer to get this one done as they have to restart the lobby. So we're going to get some great firing range gameplay from Bendy as he inspects his weaponry. But just another night, business as usual for Saints Call of Duty tonight.
Yeah, you know, apparently, I think it's so ironic that, well, not ironic, but I think it's so funny that Control is their, at least on record, their best game mode, considering how much they hate it, as you pointed out earlier. When we take into the fact as well that for these guys, just put it out there, I'm pretty sure they, like, only scrim hardpoint. They don't even scrim S&D or Control.
So what does that tell you?
And I know, right? Like, what does that tell you? It's just so many reps in hardpoint can really allow you to have transferable skills for the other game modes. I will say, it was brought up that when BO7 comes out, right, fully, if there is uplink in comp, that would be their most desired game mode to see. And I've talked about this before on B stream, but I mean, Evan, come on, let's like, you know, me and you especially, we love sports. Seeing some uplink gameplay would be absolutely amazing out of these four.
I agree. I mean, I'm honestly not a huge fan of Control either. I definitely think it's my least favorite of the current competitive modes, so I think a change is needed in the pool. And I think with BO7 really focusing on movement once again, this has been something that COD has really tried to do to separate themselves from other FPS titles right now. It's the movement, right? Like, you had Omni movement in BO6, jetpacks and boost packs are back in BO7. They're combining that with the Omni movement. If you played the beta, you know that there's just some crazy tech you can do. There's like a wall jumping now. It's insane what you're able to do. So thinking about a game mode like Uplink, combining it with your jetpacks, your wall jumps, all of that combined could make something really, really special. And something that might not just come down to individual gun skill, but a game mode that might come down to who's more proficient in the movement to make plays happen. So it's going to be really exciting to see once we actually get there. I think we have another couple months, hopefully month and a half, of BO6 before the Switch is finally put on. Just got word from Prod. November 14th is the day that the Switch will be made. He said. So don't take that with a grain of salt, dear viewer. But it will be sometime. All right, it is the 14th, as I was very loudly confirmed and very.
It actually hurt.
Yes, it did. Oh, and we're going in as well. So excellent news. Thank you very much.
Hey, listen, you know what? Made sure we could hear it. Gotta give credit to our prod staff there, as they're always keeping us informed as casters. So thank you guys so much. But now, working into Control, it is St. Clair to see if they can sweep Akron. Blue Akron fighting to keep themselves alive, but they would have to get this one done in 5-game fashion if they were to become victorious. As now KB dancing around the stairs is going to not quite find the second, but again, the refrag comes through from Bendy, as I pointed out earlier. St. Clair, so proficient when it comes to that area of the game.
Yeah, it really has been impressive so far. Just picking up right where they left off and going for A early and just letting KB just go and find those picks where they need to get it done. Already on that first tier of progress, but Akron still putting up some fight right now, not too far behind, as do have an opportunity to make some noise, but with the way St. Clair is capping this point, they're going to have to make a big push now to get something going. But you can see them on the screen right now, completely staggered with these respawns. Brandon cleaning up that pick as well, as A does get secured for St. Clair. Just have to deplete the lives for Akron, but it looks like they're just going to go for this objective capture.
Yeah, I think they just kind of want to get this one done as quick as possible, and if it means that they can just build progress on B and let the lives of Akron come to them. They already have A, so Akron, they know they have to funnel in here, and basically you can just kind of shoot them down like it's tower defense at this point. So KB on a 3 streak, and again, the headshots from the AR come through for Bendy as St. Clair. They're just looking so good throughout all of Control on Vault. They get it done via zone captures, and that's one of 3 steps the way there for sweeping Akron.
Yeah, it's dominating. I mean, we've said that word a lot tonight, but it really is. I mean, when you look at how much space they can take and how well they control the lanes and staggering out the respawns from the side of Akron. You just can't get anything going, right? It's like Sisyphus trying to push his rock up the mountain. That's how it feels like for Akron or any team that plays against St. Clair. It's just an endless rotation and struggle to get something going. You just can't get anything done. And St. Clair, like you said, they're just so proficient in everything they do. And even in a mode they hate, the talent really shines through.
Yeah, it absolutely does. But now Rupert actually going to be the first to go down as the trade comes through, and early doors here for Akron. They're going to be looking to build some progress at B, but St. Clair, and headlined by KB, are going to try to rush them off. Switches over to the pistol, has to quickly rotate out behind the car before that Semtex goes off, and now the reswing comes through, dive behind the car, but it's not going to happen. St. Clair doubling up with the likes of Bendy, able to hunt that one down as now they look to keep themselves in front and in the lead.
Bendy in a great power position on the balcony now. He gets such great sight lines looking onto B and behind as well. If Bendy can hold that position for a while, there's no reason to think that St. Clair can't win this. I mean, he's going to elect to drop down as Akron does sniff out his position, but just misses on that one. Override does win the gunfight there, but it looks like another advantageous position for Bendy. KB going to clean up that one as well. St. Clair, more progress on A as they continue to deplete the lives of Akron. KB can't outgun that fight there. Brandon thinking about clearing out balcony, but he's going to get gunned down in response. But time just about the end of this round, ticking down slowly. Akron, too many lives down. That discrepancy not going to be able to be made up quickly. KB missing that utility, but doesn't matter in the end. But now St. Clair has to just clear Akron off of A, and they should win this round just off of time alone.
Yeah, again, you don't want to give Akron that site, obviously, because so long as they can get one objective under their control, when the timer goes down, they would be victorious. But considering St. Clair aren't going to give them a damn thing, you can start to build progress maybe on B, but it all comes down to simply how many lives you're willing to dump into it and at what time, because 0.7 seconds left. The second this control gets taken off of B, that is going to be all she wrote. Pistol comes in. It is going to be Akron who gets cleared out, and just like that, St. Clair are going to be able to take that one in 2-0 fashion so far. Next one being the decider for them. Potential sweep of Akron, 1 point away.
KB waking at the camera. He knows what they did. He knows they had a good round of control there. And I mean, again, it's Akron making them sweat a little bit, but you know, that's very surface level, I think. When you kind of really dig into it and look closely, it was just St. Clair controlling the pace the entire time. It really was. I mean, yes, Akron was able to make it close in certain situations and get some progress on the objective, but St. Clair, they prepared for this. They just set it up completely. They gave Akron no time to get these objectives cleared and captured, and now they're one round away from victory.
Just want to ask a quick question. He's just walking into the room. Hey, Adrian, you think Akron are going to take a point? Just nod yes or no. No, you do not believe in Akron? You don't believe in Akron over St. Clair for even just one stinking point? He does not. And I mean, to be fair to him, it hasn't really looked that way at all so far as St. Clair. They're trying to get this done through objective once again. Quick and painless. Their method of execution is progress 2 out of 3 ticks on B, and Barn getting cleared out. They should be able to find one, as now not even a single Akron player can try to get their momentum onto that sight line, as Brandon sitting back is kind of the split, the wedge in between what would have been a smooth rotation for Akron. So good work there from Brandon, being the one to stop Akron from getting over to that B point, and so long as he can hold this position down, I think everything for St. Clair should be smooth, as now they work over to A. Akron literally needs to start dumping bodies in order to contest this area, and although they are trying to get St. Clair off of it, even if they are successful in that notion, so much game left to play, and they are just down by so many lives at this point.
Oh my God, that swap, that hot swap from KB, just crazy.
It's beautiful.
Finding that pick with the pistol, keeping the progress going, just absolutely insane. I think KB specifically has had a really, really good night. Him and Rupert have been my 2 big stars tonight, stepping up big for St. Clair. And just about the end of this control game, Bendy coming in on the flank, finding that pick on the bio.
I think that's going to do it.
I think that should do it. barring another miracle coming through from Akron, not going to happen. St. Clair cruise to another dominating win on Control, another 3-0 in NACE, remaining undefeated, 6-0. A big date with Cumberland coming up next week.
Yeah, and again, rightfully deserves. St. Clair looking just so dominant in every map we saw tonight, and KB, as we saw earlier, just brushing off the shoulders, very easily done for the Colombian superstars. Now, it is going to be Akron falling in 3-0 fashion. St. Clair get the job done, and like you said, they have a very good date booked with Cumberland, and in that one, I will say, the first time we will probably be seeing St. Clair drop a map, if I had to imagine. Probably not going to be sweeping Cumberland. That would be absolutely insane, because they are such a good team themselves, and could really honestly could see that one going all the distance to 5.
It very much could. I think if they drop a map against Cumberland, I think it's going to be Search and Destroy. I think that has the most potential to be contentious, and we saw that tonight. That still is their weakest mode. I mean, Akron was the closest in Search and Destroy. Like, yes, it was still a 6-0 for St. Clair, so very surface level it doesn't look like that, but it was, like, close. And I mean, some of these rounds, the only reason that St. Clair was able to come out on top is because of people playing hero ball, right? Rupert in the 1v3, KB with a massive double to finish that defuse. I mean, if he's half a second late, 1 second late, Akron wins that round. If he's not able to just take that little bit of extra space and see the head of the Akron player. So some big plays coming out to keep it at 6-0, but that very well could have been a 6-2 or a 6-3 potentially. So St. Clair, if anything you could take away from tonight, clean up Search and Destroy a little bit and try not to kill your teammates with your score streaks.
Yeah, you know, I think that definitely had to be the biggest blunder of the night. You know, St. Clair 3-0, but it's not good enough for Evan here, as, you know, just looming over is always going to be the cruise missile of Rupert getting rid of KB there. It's just so unfortunate, and you never want to see it in competition like this. But no, St. Clair actually getting stuff done so cleanly here. There's not really a whole lot to break down, in my opinion. This one was kind of just the routine checkup, and they definitely delivered. If I had to put out an MVP, just if I had to guess, this doesn't have to be like the actual MVP, but just for the spirits, what do you got right now for your MVP if you had to make a prediction?
Well, I have 2 MVPs in mind, but if I had to pick one, I think I'm going to go with KB just for the fact that he single-handedly saved that round when it really looked like Akron should have won that. I think that's it's tough, though, because, like, Rupert as well, I mean, the 1v3 was crazy. I mean, that was just an insanely heroic play. He was dominant in hardpoint as well. I think both were really on a heat check in hardpoint. So it's a tie between both of them. I don't know if maybe they can decide to share it tonight. I think you could choose either one, but both of them having big impact plays. I mean, Bendy and Brandon, you know, we weren't really talking about them specifically, but they also had their moments to shine in the sun, you know. And again, it's just a strong team all around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got to say, my MVP for the night has got to be Lello, especially when
I didn't see him play.
Listen.
He was there.
We didn't see him play, but we saw impacts on stream because showing us the POV of the actual raw screen.
That's true. You know what?
Keeping us in the game. I'm just saying, with that pick, you got to be sitting there and being like, hey, here's a guy who knows ball. It's Patrick Smoke Chambers. Lello's my MVP. But now we're going to be kicking it to an interview. We have, I believe, Brandon here with us. So, Brandon, nice to see you, dude. And, clean 3-0 fashion. Coming into this game, was there really any other expectation, or is this kind of just the stepping stone up to Cumberland?
You know, it's just kind of moving on up to Cumberland. We kind of expected Akron to be a little bit lower than what they were last year.
Yeah.
They lost a few of their like cornerstone players, so it was mainly just Bio there from their team last year, which was actually pretty dominant. So we didn't really know what we were expecting to go into, but we did know that they were 1-4 on the season. But you can never be light against these teams because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely a good thing to wrap your heads around. And now, looking forwards, right, to Cumberland, I just want to ask you, are there any sort of concerns or issues that you could see within your team's playstyle? Because for the most part in NACE so far, they look really good and damn near flawless, right? But do you think there are any things that Cumberland could expose, or what do you think you have to work on, I should say, before you face them?
You know, we've scrimmed Cumberland a couple times, and they've been pretty good. They were looking really dominant this year. Like they're kind of like in their mojo to say. They scrim every single day, and they really want it, which I honestly just got to respect to them. I don't think there's really anything we got to change. We just got to keep at it, keep at our practice, make sure everyone's rested up, make sure everyone's in the right mental going forward into next week.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely. And I like what you said, that comment about not knowing what to expect, but still not playing down to competition as well. You know,
Yes.
despite the 1-4 record, how big is it to know that no matter who the opponent is, whether they're 0-6 or 6-0, how good is it to know that your team is going to come in ready to go every single week?
I mean, it feels amazing. Never having to like really stress about who's loading up in the roster. It always feels good to be able to have anyone play. Like today, you have me, the coach, playing. You have Bendy, our substitute player. They can fill in any time when any of the guys might need a week break or something. And it's really comfortable feeling that like anyone could fill in at any point and we could play as a perfect team.
No, absolutely. And speaking of that team, we were kind of talking, we were kind of split on the desk of who our MVP is between KB and Rupert. If you had to pick, because you were front lines, you were right there, who made the bigger impact tonight, KB or Rupert?
I mean, from my point of view, it's kind of hard to tell during the respawns. I can't see fully what's going on in the map. The only thing I saw was the 1v3 in map 2, so I'd have to give it to Rupert for that 1v3.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I thought he was just going to give himself the MVP, and I would have respected that too. As, you know, Brandon,
Selfless.
Coach getting back into the game. You know, hey, listen, humble guy with the clan tag, I suck. You definitely didn't tonight, so thank you guys so much, and it was a real joy to watch you guys.
Thank you for having us, guys.
But that is going to do it here for us tonight. So catch us next time when COD is on in NACE versus Cumberland. Definitely going to be your marquee matchup of this semester. But for all of us here, that's been me, Patrick Smoke Chambers, and Evan, not really Evan Johnson. But before we go, we would like to thank a bunch of people, including the back room, the prod room, you guys keeping the cameras on, making sure we're all informed. So we would like to thank Lello, MJ, I want to say Owen, Hayden, I believe was in here tonight. If I'm getting that incorrect, my bad. That's on me. But I do say thank you to all of you guys who help out in the back room, and thank you as well to our sponsors. I would like to thank the SRC, the SCC Alumni Association, Tim Hortons, Subway, Alienware, Onezo, and Pre-Fire. Thank you guys for keeping the lights on in this place. And Evan, what do we say? Thank you, sponsors. We do say that. As
true.
That's going to be it for us here. So from all of us to all of you, the fans, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
This ball, guiding it down, maybe even get one for the road.
Our own standards here in this overtime period, because if we concede a goal, it's over for them.